It's probably a good idea to save the drawing file now. I'm going to select Save, and now we're going to concentrate on the door. I'm going to pan the drawing. Simply click and drag, placing that in the middle. I'm going to right click and select Zoom, and I'm going to put my cursor at the bottom of the drawing screen, clicking and holding and dragging up. That's a good distance. Right click, and I'm going to pan one last time, and right click and exit. Let's put in the door. I'm going to draw a line from this endpoint to that endpoint. Right click and enter. And I'm going to copy the line. Select objects, this object, selected, and right click. Base point will be this endpoint, and taking it up to the other endpoint. And now I'm going to offset a total distance of 2 inches, typing in 2 and enter. Select this object and picking on this side. Select this object and pick to the left. Right click terminates that command. Now I will perform a trim, and really I need to select all 4 objects, so I'm going to go ahead and just enter. All the objects that were visible on the drawing screen have been converted to cutting edges, and now I need to select objects to trim. 1, 2, 3 objects to trim, right click and enter. And I understand that these 2 lines are on the wrong layer. That's okay. Simply going to select them and go to my pull down layer and indicate that I want them on the ADW layer. And now tapping the escape key makes that go away. What we're left with between here should be 3 feet. I will double check that. I'm going to use my keyboard shortcut. I know I have that toolbar open, but I'm just going to reinforce this, typing DI and enter. Distance from point A to point B, it is 3 feet. That's what we wanted. Okay. Next thing, we have to draw the door. The door is 3 feet by 1.5 inches. So selecting the line command, I'm going to pick on this point, turning ortho on. I'm going to type in 36 and enter. Moving it to my left, I'm going to type in 1.5, and Autocad will understand that to be 1.5 inches. Enter. Specifying the next point, that will be 3 feet. Notice how I'm pointing the cursor in the right direction, and now I enter. And now I will type C for close and enter. Next thing we need to do is put in the swing of the door. For that, first let me show you. I'm going to use circle. The center point of the circle will be the hinge point of the door, and that is this endpoint here. So I'm going to pick that, and I'm going to drag my cursor out and let it snap to this endpoint, and I'm going to pick there. The circle is too big, but we can trim it. Select trim. When you trim a circle, you need to pick 2 lines. So this will be the first line, and right in here is the second one. It may be a little bit difficult to pick it, so I much rather do a zoom real time, get a little bit closer, right click and exit, and then try selecting the object. So that's 2 objects selected, 1, 2. I should be able to do a zoom previous, and it does still keep those objects selected. And now I enter. Select object to trim, and that would be this object, but I want to trim this longer segment of the circle. And then once that goes away, I can right click and enter, and there I have the circle. I'm going to erase that and show you that I could also use the arc command. Selecting arc, it indicates to specify the start point of the arc or picking the center. Well, I want to pick the center, so I'm going to type C, enter. Center point of the arc is the same as the center point of the circle. It's the hinge point. Specifying the start point of the arc. Remember that circles get drawn in a counterclockwise direction. Knowing that, you then begin your endpoint here. Ortho is on. I want to turn it off, and notice how that rubber band effect works correctly. And now I simply pick this endpoint, and that gets completed. And the last thing I want to do now is put in the two lines here. Draw one line, and I'm going to right click and enter, and I'm going to right click again and repeat the line command. Place it here and here, right click and enter, and then I'll explain how to convert this into the dashed lines.